Good evening. It is Pastor Trish. It is Monday, June 23rd, I believe. Happy Monday. I hope it's been a good Monday for you. Uh, I was just trying to figure this up. I think we are starting week 5 of our journey through the Psalms. Tonight we are doing Psalm 21, and this is a royal psalm. You will hear the psalm talking about the king. How you might interpret this psalm might depend on the context in which you think this psalm was written or for what context the psalm was written for. And of course, nobody knows for sure. Some scholars think it might have been written for an actual coronation for the king, or it could have been for an anniversary or a remembrance of that coronation. It could have been written as a liturgy and a prayer before a king marches into battle. It could have been used as a thanksgiving after the battle. So, lots of different ways. I invite you to hear the psalm, to pray it with me, and then we'll talk a little bit more about it when we're done. But this is Psalm 21, a royal psalm. The king celebrates your strength, Lord. Look how happy he is about your saving help. You've given him what his heart desires. You haven't denied what his lips requested. You bring rich blessings right to him, and you put a crown of pure gold on his head. He asked you for life, and you gave it to him all right, long days, forever and always. The king's reputation is great because of your saving help. You've conferred on him glory and grandeur. You grant him blessings forever. You make him happy with the joy of your presence. Because the king trusts the Lord, and because of the Most High's faithful love, he will not stumble. Your hand will catch all your enemies, your strong hand will catch all who hate you. When you appear, Lord, you will light them up like an oven on fire. God will eat them whole in his anger, fire will devour them. You will destroy their offspring from the land, destroy their descendants from the human race. Because they sought to do you harm, they devised a wicked plan, but they will fail. Because you will make them turn and run when you aim your bow straight at their faces. Be exalted, Lord, in your strength. We will sing and praise your power. You hear in the first part of that psalm the blessings that the Lord has given the king. And then in the second part, you hear how God is going to treat the enemies of the king, both as part of the blessing, I think is the way to think about that. um, and it's got some pretty strong language in there. If you listen to a different translation, the language might seem even stronger, is my guess. One of the things I read is remember that that's really metaphorical or exaggerated language. It doesn't necessarily mean to literally destroy their offspring for generations to come. But that's kind of a metaphorical way or an exaggerated way to talk about how God is going to deal with the king's enemies. So the king receives all these blessings from God. And think about for a moment this understanding we have about being blessed in order to be a blessing, right? And so, was the king blessed? Why would the king be blessed? Might be the question. And what did the king do with those blessings? And fortunately, sometimes a king would take the blessings received by God, and we say they're received by God because we know who we are and everything we have ultimately comes from our Creator, right? We agree with that as people of faith. And the kings knew that as well, but sometimes they forgot that and assumed that those blessings were theirs to do with as they wish. But if you remember, and we talked about this, I don't know, sometime in the last month, um, the role of a king, of course, is to care for the people that the king is overseeing. And so if you are blessed, if you receive these blessings from God, they're not for you. They're so that you might offer protection, safety, uh, gifts of your own, give those blessings to other people so that they in turn can be blessed. And we need to think about that we ourselves as well when are in ways in which we are particularly leaders or um, uh, have people following us or people that we are helping or protecting or caring for. The blessings we might have aren't really ours to do with as we wish, but they're ours only because God can use those blessings to offer blessings to other people. Ultimately, not we are our channel. The King is the channel, and so are we to bless others to ultimately bless the world. Right? I want to just read. This is a bit of a commentary that talks about this. It says that the theological purpose of Psalm 21 is to subordinate the human king to the divine king. Everything the king is, has, and does comes from God. Everything we are, everything we have, everything we do comes from God. Thus, in terms of the various personal offices that the modern person of faith might have, like you and I, as we are a leader in the family, a leader in our faith community, a leader in our work, a place of employment, in a community group, whatever it is, the psalm directs us to remember that leadership is a gift and a trust that comes from God. And the blessings that come with leadership do not exist for the advantage of the leader, but for the sake of the community and for the sake of the world. The kings of Israel and Judah never learned this lesson, right? And we see that in the Old Testament, unfortunately. And this commentary says the leaders of today seem to not do much better sometimes. One is reminded of the old story about how people get elected to Congress in order to do good, but end up doing well for themselves and serving themselves. So perhaps the warning that Jesus gives us is still apt. From those to whom much has been given, much is expected. Tonight, I invite you to take a moment and think about the blessings that you have and give thanks for those blessings. And then consider how it is God is calling you to use those blessings, to share those blessings. To whom much is given, much will be expected to make this world a better place, to help usher in the kingdom of God. May these words live in your heart tonight. May you have a good evening, and we'll see you tomorrow.